So the spotlight is on her. And now, Swagata, you first tell the topic and then the mic is yours. Fine, start.
The topic I'm going to talk about is gender issue we find in the short story Hunt by Mahashita Devi. Uh, so let me first tell about what is gender. Now, basically, biologically, the male and female are differentiated through their anatomical differences. But when it comes to socio-cultural convention, we differentiate masculinity and femininity through certain behaviors, which is actually an imposition of the patriarchal society on them. For example, bravery and courage go with masculinity, whereas coolness or calmness and softness go with femininity. And this gender identity has also a great impact on gender role, in which is again impact of patriarchal notions. And being a feminist writer, Mahashita Devi opposed these narrow-minded notions in her short story Hunt. If we see the title, The Hunt, hunting requires physical strength as well as knowing the prey, which is conventionally go with the qualities of masculinity. But here we find that in this year, the hunting festival is celebrated by women. Now, if we look at the passage here, it is revealed that the ritual of the hunt that the tribe celebrates at the spring festival is for the women to perform this year. Like the men, they do go out with bow and arrow, they run in forest and field, they kill hedgehogs, rabbits, birds, whatever they can kill. Then they picnic together, drink liquor, sing, and return home at evening. They do exactly what men do. Now we find a reversal of gender role here, and it is really prominent when Mary took the role of an hunter while killing the Tehsildar. After losing her master, Mary interestingly convinces the Tehsildar to stay beside the rock in the day of hunting festival will be performed. And when he did so, Mary came to him and killed the Tehsildar just like a hunter kills his prey. If we concentrate on the description of Mary's character, we also find some unconventional qualities in her. She is 18-year-old attractive woman, but she has a strong point of self-respect and self-esteem. She has a sense of it, and she is economically independent. She is hardworking, and her hard work also referred as she's worked like an animal at Prasad's bungalow. This passage also clears it when it says that Mary pastures the Prasad's cattle. She is most capable cowherd. She also sells custard, apple, guava from Prasad's orchard, driving terrifically hard bargains with Kunjrat, the wholesale fruit buyers. She takes the train to Thori with vegetables from the field. Uh, so apart from her hard working, she also plays a role of a protector of the area. She also helps Charlie economically because Charlie has a family out there and it is impossible for Charlie to bear all the expenses alone. And thus, Mary is also saving money for their marriage. She also protects Jalim in a sense that she doesn't say a word about how Tehsildar is disturbing her, and if she does, Jalim would have go and kill Tehsildar. But Tehsildar is a powerful man with the power of men and money. She could be trapped. Jalim could be trapped in a under some lawsuit, and in a sense, Mary interestingly protects Chalim, and not only that, she also protects Prasadji and the other tribals from the tricks of the Tehsildar. Now, the passage here, when Mary says this to Prasadji, that the bastard tricked you. He took all the profit. Everyone from Tori to Chippador is laughing, and she also warns the elders of the village by saying that 12 annas and 8 annas. No porter carries gentleman cases for this price. But by contrast, we also seeing some ignorance in the part of the tribal women. They don't know why they play the hunting festivity, and they also some of the tribal women also ask Mary to get married, with the tehsildar, even after knowing that uh, he is married and has children. Now, we also find a comparative study about the tribal ideals and the ideals of the sophisticated people like Tehsildar and Prasaji. Uh, the tribals are more concerned with the honor of the woman of the village. The tribals ask the contractor that how about the woman's honor if they work, and it's also proven when the tribals warn the tehsildar not to disturb Mary, and the tehsildar as a result becomes insecure of their majority. Now, by contrast, we find that for Prasadji, Bikini has to change her religion firstly, and then we also find in a place that Tehsildar, after seeing Mary for the first time, remarks that wow, what a dish in these woods. And also, when Mary protested against the misbehavior of Tehsildar, Banwari, was opposing this, and Mary says that it's a crazy talk to me. It maybe could talk to you. So all these portrays a general comparative studies between these two ideals. And through all these points, I want to say that Mahasheta Devi interestingly portrays the gender issue, which is dominated in the tribal, which is faced by the tribal people in the India, and which is also which is also very important in today's society also. And through this feministic perspective, she portrays very clearly the gender issues in throughout this short story.
Okay, I mean, quite nicely done. Uh, okay, before I say anything, anybody else wants to say and ask anything, add anything, wants to get clarified on any particular point that Swagata was narrating? It's advisable that other students should ask certain questions by which you can prove that yes, you have understood the discussion and you are also taking part in it. Any question from anybody? Ontora, I can find a number of other students are present. Rafia, Parjana, Shubroto. Anybody has any question to ask? Deep Shubra, Arjun. Anybody has any question to ask? I can find also Borsha present here. Khalek, Sultan, Ansari is here. Himanshu. Anybody has any question or anything that you want to add here? Okay, so let me then just talk about what Shagota said. Shagota overall talked about the gender issue, how Mahashweta Devi on one hand showed the conventional idea of the difference between the male and the female. That is a mental construct. You see, majority of us, right from our birth, you see, we are groomed with a belief that well, males have these certain advantages over the female. And in fact, when you talk about this conventional notion of the gender, always uh, the weighing scale, if you put in the weighing scale the male versus the female, always many privileges are given in a very partial manner to the male. And Shagota is right when she says that, well, a female is portrayed as somebody who is weak and soft, right? In fact, see, I don't understand when you say soft or tender, Can you even tell me? I'm asking even Shagota and Ananya also. Would you say that softness and tenderness is a kind of a weakness? Is it a weakness?
No, sir. I think it's a
Softness?
quality.
Yeah, it's a quality, it's a virtue. Because
Yes, sir,
when
it's
you are,
also my opinion.
yeah, it's absolutely right. Softness and tenderness are such qualities, such virtues that are very much required in a happy home. You just imagine, sometimes you require your mom more than your dad. I'm not talking about the exceptional dad. I'm talking about in general, the fathers and the mothers. See, sometimes you feel you require the mother more. Why? Because of that tenderness, right? I have a daughter and a son, and I require sometimes the daughter more than the son. So the son gives me a certain kind of a feeling, and the daughter gives me another kind of a feeling. Both are complementary. The irony is that in our society, we have made certain qualities and put certain stamps on them, right? Certain levels on them. And then, because the male always wanted to dominate, well, or whatever we find in the female overall, we say, well, this is all weaker. This is all weaker. And in fact, a female is called a weaker sex. A weaker sex. Come on, when you define that weakness, tell me one thing. Would you confine the meaning of weakness only to physical, only to the physical area, the physical component? Or
No,
would you say that weakness cannot only be physical? And we have ample examples in which we find that a woman is mentally tougher than a man, right? Mentally, a woman is tougher than a man. Just imagine the very fact that a child is born out of the womb of a mother, not a father. And that 9 months parturition, the labor pain, the 9 months that a mother carries the child in the womb, right? It requires a lot of resilience, a lot of tolerance, right? And that is, I just don't understand what kind of a society is this that tries to defame a particular generation, a particular sex or gender by pointing out, well, this is all weakness in a woman. I just can't imagine a society where if these womanly, so-called weak qualities of a woman would not be there in a society, how can a society really continue and sustain itself? It cannot. So Shagota was just trying to tell us in this particular story, short story, The Hunt of Mahashweta Devi, how on one hand you have that conventional notion of the female, right? One whom we can easily suppress, dominate, and use, right? Use to satisfy our needs, use to satisfy our sexual desire, use to and satisfy many other things. In fact, Mary, the kind of role that she was assigned in the short story, the kind of load, the kind of responsibility that she shouldered in the entire story, right? She was doing, I think, work of almost 10 people, right? And it's very clearly mentioned by Mahashweta Devi that earlier, when the Europeans used to stay here, they used to appoint a number of people. And now Prasadji has not appointed anybody. And it is she who has been doing everything, right? So that proves and that negates this particular conventional idea of a weak woman. Had she really been weak, she could not shoulder all this responsibility. She was taking charge of the cattle. She was looking after the farm. She was going to the Tori market and selling the things at the best price. She was bargaining hard, right? And even in what Ananya earlier mentioned, that the way she talked about the exploitation of Tehsildar, right? I mean, first, because of the labor charges that they were offered, that was very low, very cheap, right? And on the other hand, in that particular price that was offered for the beautiful, huge kind of sal, the best quality of sals, see? So being a woman, well, conventionally, she should have not really known all that. A male should have known it more. Banwani should have known it more. Prasadji should have known it more. But they didn't know, right? It was Mary who was pointing out that how Tehsildar was exploiting not just Kuruda village, not just the environment and nature. He was actually here to exploit Prasadji, the tribal people, and everything. You see? So time and again, Mahashweta Devi is brilliantly critiquing our conventional notion of that gender differences. See, the gender difference that we unnecessarily bring in and impute and say, well, you don't know. That you don't know. It's just my prerogative. It's my area. I can say the final word, right? And then brilliantly, Mahashweta Devi goes on to make the heroine take the machete and kill the Tahsildar, the oppressor, right? So, Shagota was very right in her presentation.